Our panelist that's hosting the masterclass is an experienced architect specializing in green building, bringing in sustainable practices. We state that together, green buildings and green built environment is the future of sustainable cities. So this afternoon, this workshop will provide a comprehensive look and explore sustainable practices in architect, building, design, and construction, moreover. With that being said, let me bring and introduce my esteemed presenter for this afternoon. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, friends. It's my pleasure to be part of this, and let me also thank the AIM Congress organizers for giving me the opportunity. You know, this is always a challenge to speak at the end of the day. I am not going to take much of my time with respect to this presentation. All the deliberations today had focused on, technology-centric city, people-centric city, of course, mobility-centric city, all high-sounding things with respect to the AI, etc. But friends, we are really facing the climate change-related issues. So more and more, we need to be conscious about how resilient the city is, and how are we going to address the emissions that we are making every minute. That is one aspect. The second aspect is, yes, we spoke about the people centricity, but people alone are not lives. You know, in a city, you have many more lives. The birds, the animals, or even the insects, how are you going to address? The biodiversity component of the city, how are we going to address? Probably this presentation will focus a bit on both the aspects in terms of the environment centricity as well as the biodiversity related aspects. So a small introduction about my own country, India. People who are not fully aware of this, you know, we have about 1.4 billion population. Obviously, a lot more pressure on the cities in India. When you have more population, the city will face a lot of challenges. Another aspect is it has got about 5 climatic zones, which is very unique to this country. These climatic zones make a huge impact on the cities as well. And if you look at in terms of million plus population, there are more than about 60 cities in the country. So obviously, the challenges that are faced by a country like India is completely different. A lot more, at the same time, offers a lot more opportunities. And also, we are now getting into the high-rise and high-density development. Many cities in India the skyscape is completely changing, so the opportunities we need to look at. Having said this, we have been working on promoting the green concepts in these buildings and built environment, and of course, the city point of view. And I am from this organization, the Green Business Center, which talks about the green building in every aspects of the buildings and built environment. And this is also a net zero building right now. So our vision is to enable sustainable built environment for all and facilitate India to be one of the global leaders in the sustainable built environment by 2025. Having reached 2025, we have made a significant impact in this regard as well. As on date, we have facilitated more than about, 15,000 building projects to go green, implement the sustainability measures. And in terms of the footprint, if you look at it, is more than about, 13 billion square feet, which is supposed to be the second largest footprint in the world. Obviously, this has put India in the global map as one of the leaders. So every aspect, if you look at from the green building point of view, it has taken various shapes and size, whether it is a commercial building or residential building or even infrastructure projects like airports, metros, railway stations, or large industrial parks. You look at a city, every component of the city, it can go green. It has the opportunity for implementation of sustainability measures. So that is how it has grown, and this has also created a huge impact in terms of, very positive impacts in terms of the reduction in resource consumption. If you look at in terms of energy, so much of energy consumption, which is equivalent to about, say, 4 times Mumbai's energy consumption. And in terms of water, there is a huge reduction, close to about, say, 1.198 billion liters. And obviously, in terms of carbon footprint as well, it is close to about, say, 51 million tons of CO2 emission reduction. So the green buildings and built environment, it has got a very positive impact on the cities. Having said this, these green buildings from elemental level, it has to go to a city level. So from the green infrastructure point of view, how a city can become green, in this process, it addresses the economic aspects, the environment aspect, as well as the social aspect, so that the city becomes more livable from that point of view. Friends, having said this, if you look at every aspect of a city, whether it is related to a metro, or it is related to a railway station, or it is related to a township, or independent buildings, or logistics parks, all these can go green and implement green measures and make the city more environment friendly as well as livable. So right now we have been working with more than about, say, 8.5 lakh acres of large developments in India to implement the green measures. So this is the kind of framework we use in terms of how to facilitate a large built environment to go green. So looking at from the building, city point of view, first and foremost requirement is how are we going to preserve the ecology from that point of view of the soil, from the point of view of water, and in this process you make it more resilient. And also look at from the point of view of the citizen welfare, and then you also look at from the point of view of landscape, the resource consumption, and also the city mobility aspects. All these elements, there are more than about, say, 24 indicators with multiple sub-parameters we work on in terms of facilitating the cities to go green. That is the way the overall framework has been looked at. So in this process, right now we are working with close to about, say, 30 city facilities in India to implement the green and sustainability measures. Some of them are large cities, the municipal corporations, they are looking at in terms of how these green measures can be implemented using our framework. And some of them are private cities. There are a lot of industrial city developments happening. And along with the place for stay, how these industrial cities are also going green. These are some of the examples where we work on in terms of making it green. I just thought of highlighting some of the key measures with respect to the cities. So then probably we can take up some points for discussion. Majority of the aspects, if you look at, these are all kind of nature-based solutions in building the low-carbon cities. We have been very closely working with these cities in terms of implementing these measures. Whatever I am talking about, friends, these are all already implemented in spite of the fact that we are facing a lot of challenges in India because of the huge population and hence the pressure on the city infrastructure. The first aspect is in terms of building the green lung spaces. I have also been listening to some of the speakers as part of the fireside chat talking about how these lung spaces are going to contribute from the city point of view. And these lung spaces, very critical from the point of view of addressing the air quality within the city, and also they are contributing for the biodiversity aspects in the city as well. This has been done in a city like Kolkata. Kolkata is supposed to be a very highly populated city, and then the new town, which has been a new development adjacent to the existing city, that has created this lung space, which is about, say, more than 30% of the city area. And this acts as a fantastic location from the point of view of an eco park for the people who are living there. The second aspect is, if you look at in terms of addressing the green corridors, one of the major challenges nowadays the cities are facing is related to the urban heat island effect. The urban heat island effect obviously contributes to the increase in temperature in the cities. And of course, increase in the surface temperature, that is also contributing to the loss of greenery and the vegetation in the city landscape. So to address the urban heat island effect, there are many measures have been taken up in this city. This is a gift city. The gift city is the private industrial development in the state of Gujarat. And this city has taken many measures in terms of addressing the urban heat and island effect by developing green corridors along the road network. So this helps in terms of addressing the rise in temperature at the city level. The another aspect is, it is also how are you facilitating the cities to have a kind of walkable and cyclable spaces. Of course, I could see a lot of cycling, track as well as walkable spaces in a city like Abu Dhabi. But in India, we face a lot of challenges in terms of having this infrastructure. In spite of the difficulties we are working on in terms of creating this space, and this has been again created in Gift City, for about say 30% of the area has been allocated for walking tracks and cycling tracks. So this makes a lot of difference in terms of addressing the health and well-being of the occupants. A smart city is fine, which talks about the technology. At the same time, we need to address the health and well-being of people who are living there. How are you going to facilitate this? Make the people walk to work. Make the people to do more cycling. So in a way, it will also address the health and well-being of the occupants there. So this has been done in Gift City, and this makes the Gift City more livable, more healthier in a way. Some more aspects have been done in terms of addressing the health and well-being. This is one of the example where it's a city, existing city, Visakhapatnam in the eastern part of the country. This has created parks for a kind of public landscape area. The World Health Organization, you may be knowing, it recommends about say 9 square meter per capita as a green space, especially for the public landscape. So this city had worked on creating that kind of landscape, and also an accessibility for the people who are living in the city for that landscape. So this has gone a long way in terms of enhancing the health and well-being of the people living in Visakhapatnam city. The another aspect, if you look at, we have spoken a lot about in terms of creating a green infrastructure, creating a healthy space, creating a lung space from the city point of view. There are cities which are also addressing the issues related to the green, blue, and gray infrastructure. We have spoken a lot about the green infrastructure. Of course, the water bodies, which is the blue infrastructure, which is also very critical from that point of view. So in India, we are focusing a lot in terms of how are we going to preserve the existing water bodies and also create new water bodies. These water bodies in a way addresses the issues related to the water availability in the city, the groundwater table in the city, etc. So many of the water bodies you may be knowing in some of the cities like Bengaluru in India, we are facing a hell lot of problem related to loss of water bodies. So many of the developments have actually come up in water bodies itself. Okay, you can blame it on the urban governance, but the point is there is a need for preserving the water bodies as well. A lot of work has been done in this direction. Apart from preserving the water bodies, the grey infrastructure, especially for the treatment of the wastewater, and how are we going to make use of the treated wastewater within the city. So these have contributed a lot in terms of managing the water-related issues within the city level. This has been done very well in Rajkot Smart City. This is one of the smart cities which has come up in Gujarat. So these are some of the private cities. Mahindra Well City in Chennai, this talks about even developing an urban agriculture. This is a very unique aspect. The agriculture doesn't happen only in villages. Even it can happen in urban area. And it can happen even on the building rooftop. That is something has been very well innovated here. When you go for urban agriculture, of course, you address the issues related to the food, and also you address the issues related to the urban heat island. So this has been demonstrated very well in Mahindra Well City, which is near Chennai. This is a private city, basically. It's a private city, private development, and they have started experimenting the concept related to the urban agriculture. Another aspect is in terms of addressing the resilience. With the climate change, we are facing a lot of issues related to flooding in the city. There are two aspects majorly because of climate change. One is the heat, the second one is flooding. So how are we going to address the issues related to the flooding? Here, the afforestation plays a significant role, as well as the wetlands in these cities, they play a significant role. So how are we going to preserve these wetlands? How are we going to improve these afforestation? So that would contribute to improving the resilience aspects within the urban area. And urban forestry is one aspect we are working on in terms of improving it in a large way. So this is a Kantla SEZ. It's a new development. It's a kind of city that is getting developed along with the industrial area. Here we are working on in terms of addressing the urban forestry as well as addressing the wetland related aspects. In addition to this also contributes a lot for improving the biodiversity index. The birds and other species, more than 28 variety of birds and other species have been attracted and they are preserved in this process. So this is another city which is getting developed in India called Dholera. This is again an industrial city. Here we are focusing on rain gardens and constructed wetland. Again, more from the point of view of wastewater management and of course improving the resilience component within the city as well. So especially from the wastewater management point of view, if you look at a lot of effort has gone in terms of treating 100% of the wastewater. This is a city where the treated wastewater has been extensively used to the extent of about 50 to 60% in terms of landscaping, etc. There is a lot of opportunity. In fact, we have gone for two different lines for potable water supply as well as for the wastewater supply. The wastewater, the pink line has been separately laid here for addressing the wastewater management. And the city is moving towards a kind of zero liquid discharge. So from the waste, solid waste point of view, we are also working on in terms of addressing the waste management. The ultimate aim is to avoid waste going to the landfill. We call it as zero landfill system and also a kind of garbage-free city. Indore has done phenomenal work in this area. Indore has been acknowledged as a clean city and also in terms of zero waste to landfill city. A lot of efforts have been put in terms of collection of the waste, segregation, and then repurposing and reprocessing the waste. Whether it is a wet waste, separately it has been taken for biomethanation. If it is a dry waste, it has been either recycled or converted into energy as well. So phenomenal work has been done in terms of the zero solid waste discharge activity. The last but not least, friends, we spoke about the resource a lot. Now the cities are moving towards net zero. We are looking at in terms of how we can move towards the carbon neutrality and at some point in time achieve net zero also, because India as a whole have committed to achieve net zero by 2070. So without the support from the states, without the support from the cities, India will not be able to achieve, obviously. So the cities are committing to become net zero depending upon their own targets. Some of the cities like Mumbai has committed to achieve net zero by 2050. There are many other cities also following up. So what we are working on is, we are working on in terms of developing a net zero roadmap from the city's point of view, and how these buildings in the cities can move towards net zero energy and also contribute to the city to move towards net zero carbon. So this is one study which has been taken up in Ahmedabad in Gujarat, where we worked on in terms of coming out with an energy simulation for multiple buildings and then developing a roadmap for the buildings in the city to go net zero. Because in India, if you look at the energy consumption in existing buildings are quite significant. So how are we going to work on in terms of moving towards net zero energy, thereby contributing to the net zero carbon? So the embodied, when you look at the carbon emission, there are two components. One is the operational carbon point of view. Another one is the embodied carbon. When I talk about embodied carbon, these are something related to the materials which go as part of the building. So the supply chain obviously need to be ready for reducing the carbon footprint and support the building sector to move towards the low, net zero carbon. So here we have taken multiple studies in terms of addressing how a building can become a low carbon building by addressing the embodied carbon point of view. Obviously the entire supply chain, including cement, steel, glass or brick industry, they all need to move towards the embodied carbon. So there is based on this, we started working on at the city levels. Right now there are 2 studies we have taken up at the city levels, developing a net zero roadmap, and then work with the private sector in terms of how they can build the low carbon buildings and contribute to the net zero carbon pathway for the cities. Second, we are also working with the municipal officials, the urban local bodies, in terms of what kind of policies and regulations they can bring in so that that can facilitate the city to move towards net zero carbon. These are some of the aspects we thought we would share with you. Friends, the opportunity for city authorities are quite large in terms of addressing all these aspects. Of course, we are also facing issues related to the air quality. A lot of efforts have been taken up in this direction, but I did not speak much about that, but the air quality also has been addressed a lot. So the idea is, a city, it need to be more and more resource efficient so that it contributes for reduce the carbon emissions and ultimately contributing to the climate change. And a city need to be more inclusive in terms of addressing the biodiversity. A city need to be more livable as well, ultimately contributing to a better quality of life for the citizens living in the city. Having said this, this is how I would like to sum up, friends. The way we envision the smart cities, the green and smart cities, is obviously it will reduce the resource consumption. It will address the issues related to the transport management and also improve the city resilience, a better environment, and ultimately contributing to the enhanced quality of life for the citizens who are living in the city. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation saying that the mantra right now is take the resilient and sustainable path, the only way forward for making the built environment responsive to the climate change that is happening, which is a major challenge in front of us. Thank you very much.